Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled today to have with me the beautiful I don't want to say super talented. I want to say authentic and really devoted to our industry. That's how I would describe it, Gay Wardle. And welcome, Gay. I can't believe we're sitting here together having this conversation.
Oh, Elle, look, I'm actually when you asked me if we could do this, I had an email from you, not from you, but from Kyle. I was just, oh my gosh, she wants to talk to me. She wants to talk to me. Like I was just so overwhelmed that you have asked me and have invited me to come on to this. Thank you so much.
Well, I just feel really blessed that we're here together. We're 10,000, over 10,000 miles away, and here we are. Isn't technology just fabulous for these kinds of things? Well, like whenever I think of the beauty industry, you're just right up at the top there for me. And so, as I said, I'm thrilled. I would love our audience to know a little bit about you. And I know that this isn't the best, most comfortable place for you, but you know what? I think we come to a state in our lives where we really can speak about the things that we've done. And you are quite extraordinary because I did my research, of course, and I would consider you an icon in the beauty industry, really. I think that you have created such an unbelievable reputation for your authenticity and your integrity when it comes to mentoring, coaching, all kinds of things, your Skin Institute now. And you're like I'll say, what do they call you? Actually, I saw that now. Oh, the fairy godmother of skin. Have you heard that before, that you're the fairy godmother of skin?
That one, no?
I actually did some research, and so tell us how did you first, is there anything else actually, by the way, that you want to add to that little piece that I
No,
just,
no, no, that's fine. Thank you very much. I
but I'm
actually
sure there's more to it than that, so much more.
I think because I've been around forever, like when you've been around for decades and centuries, like and you haven't gone away, people kind of see your face a lot, and I think it's yeah, and I guess I've done a lot of things in within the industry itself. Like for me, how did I get into this industry? Well, I started off as being a beauty therapist. I studied beauty therapy, and I bought my own clinic straight out of college and crashed and burned. And it was a big learning curve for me. Like I thought, oh my gosh, like I was going to go and make my husband a millionaire and do all this kind of stuff. And I soon learned that it's just damn hard work. And I think you just learn. And I think one of the things that we have to understand in life is when we fall and we get up, if we don't learn from what happened there and make it better next time, then we're never going to keep growing. And I think I've always kind of looked back and thought, what did I do? How could I have been better at what I did so that the next time I do it, because it's always going to be a next time, the next time that I do it, I'm not going to crash and burn. And I think for me, it was just, I kind of leveraged on education a lot. I was very fortunate. I had a lot of support from a family where education, if I wanted to go and do a course or do this, they kind of, my kids kind of, mum's away for the weekend learning again, and we kind of gave up a lot of time. And I think when we're veterans and we've been around for a long time, we did sacrifice, didn't we? We
Yes,
sacrificed an
a
awful
lot.
lot. Yeah, an awful lot.
A
And
lot.
I think when we've got the people that are actually helping us or supporting that, it just makes it a whole lot easy to you agree with that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something that stands out for me when you said about getting your salon straight out of college. So did I, actually, funnily enough. Straight out, went straight in. And for me, it was like such a, excuse me, because I was a very sheltered little Greek girl. And I I'd had a lot of real difficulty in my life. I had a brother that died when I was 13 in a terrible car accident. As a teenager, and that time is so critical to a human being. And I was sort of thrown into this dark pit, really. So by the time I was 21 when I stepped 20 when I stepped into the beauty industry, 21 when I had my salon. I was very kind of naive and young still. I didn't really blossom in a way through my teenage years that you would say, well, wow, what an amazing, childhood, or that kind of phase of my life. So I sort of went in and I was amazed at how women were trusting me. Were you amazed at that when women started, like that was such a big thing for me. And I took it to heart. Like I thought, oh, I can't believe it. And I thought, oh, that's such a huge responsibility. Like it landed like that in me. Did it land like that in you?
Absolutely. And funnily enough, I was the same age. I was,
Amazing.
21. So I had my children very, very young in age. And yeah, I was actually, when you're that young and you've got people coming in their 30s and 40s, which seems so old when you're that young,
Yes.
and they come in and they're taking your advice, and they're coming back because you can actually make a difference to their skin. And that trust, that belief that they have in you it was mind-blowing for me as well. Like I just thought, and I think that gave me encouragement to keep learning and to keep going, what more can I do to help? What more can I do in this industry? Like it really pushed me to go to another level and to keep learning, and not just stay in that cubicle that we're quite comfortable in, and we can quite stay there quite for a long time and not move out of it. But I think when we move out, it's out of our comfort zone to keep learning, especially back then it was, when I was doing it, like it was really something that people we were kind of glorified pedicurists and manicurists for a long while.
Yes.
And we had nothing. We actually had nothing except our hands.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of invent things that we could actually do to increase and change people's lives, it was really difficult. And there's been glycolics came on and we had a few tools to actually work with, but going through the years, it's been amazing the changes that have happened and what we can actually do now. And I think it's great to see that women in this industry and men in this industry have the ability to be able to do more for people than what we could back then. But the trust that we had back then was amazing.
It really was. And I think you said one thing that just stands out in my mind. I can't let it go. I don't want to let it go because I want to talk about it. You said the words to help people.
Yes.
And, the beauty industry is all about people. And when we forget that, when that gets forgotten and it becomes about us instead of the clients, for whatever reason, we're very lost as an industry. And it always has to be about what's best for the clients. And I when you have someone that actually deeply knows that, I mean, you could speak about anything, and that was one of the first things that came out of your mouth is I wanted to help. That's the hugest thing. And we think it's normal for us because that's how we think, right? And but I don't know if that is still, how everybody thinks in the beauty industry, because we're in new generations have passed. We're talking about 40 years. We're talking about 4 decades ago. Let's just be honest. We're talking about a long time. But for me, that was a key thing. How do I help? That's what I always wanted to do. Like, so I still am doing that, even still now. It's a natural part of how I run my business, my life. Everything is how do I help? So I love that piece. And I think that if that is at the core, if that's at the core, then our industry is going to be fine. But when that goes off the compass, even if it just turns just a little bit, your own self-interest above the interest of the client, we're in trouble.
I 100% agree with that. And what you just said then too is this industry is kind of getting lost in lots of ways because, let's face it, it's very lucrative. It can be a very lucrative industry, really can. But I think for me, I talk to people, my students all the time, and I talk to them about don't worry about making money in this industry. If you can change someone's life, if you can help them, if you can give them back their self-esteem, if you can give them back their confidence because they look good and they've got great skin, wherever, if they've got a rash on their body and they're scratched like eczema or psoriasis, if we can help in some way and that changes that person's life so they want to go out in society and want to mix with friends and things like that, your reputation will grow. So you don't really have to worry about marketing so hard to get people in the door to do a laser treatment or an IPL treatment or anything like that. If you just care,
I mean, does the industry need to hear this from us? Yes, I think you all do, all of you. And even if, when times get hard, like sometimes I try and stay out of the Facebook beauty groups. I'm naughty. I really should be more in them. I should put more energy, and I know because we do have the value to add, but sometimes when I go in and I see what people are writing, what they're saying, it's really quite devastating. I really feel like, hang on a minute, what has happened to our industry? And I know you mentioned something, and I'm not saying this across the board. There are women out there that I am just like, I'm in awe of their beautiful hearts and their devotion and their dedication to what is best for the client. The compass is right on, they're right on their North Star. They're right there, and they're not exploitable. That's the key. They're not exploitable. If you're exploitable, this industry will gobble you up. Like it really, really will. So this is where I think we need to keep coming back. What's it for? Who's it for? Is it the right thing for my client? And you're right. It's never about the money. And someone would say, but aren't we in business to make money? You're in business to impact the lives of other human beings. That's what I hear you say. The money is what pours down and showers you because you're being pure, clean, authentic, real. That's how it works. It's like there is no other way. And if the money's pouring and you're not doing that, most of the time I would go out, outside of my comfort zone, and I would say that most of the time that has a lifespan, and then bam, it ends. Because and how good are you going to feel on the inside when you're doing something that isn't the best? But we did speak about something earlier about what is actually going on right now. And if you're comfortable enough and you want to share, I'd love you to, because this was around COVID. We all saw a big shift, didn't we, around COVID? What did you see, Gay, that you want to share?
For me with COVID, watching how people changed how they did their businesses, and I think that has a lot to do with their businesses today, is what they actually did through COVID. They did a lot of online sales. They did a lot of treatments that, educated people how they could treat their skin at home. They did a lot of that kind of stuff. And I think now we're actually seeing people are kind of, if they can do that at themselves at home, why do they need to go to a clinic? We're seeing a lot of that with the public these days. And I think what we have to bring it back is that nurturing that they can't do for themselves. That's really so important. I think with COVID, it actually, I think also in the industry, I saw a lot of us band together providing education, and I was one of those. Every day I was doing something to keep our therapists' spirits, to keep everyone, motivated, to not let them feel down, because we were in an industry, especially parts of Australia, as you would know, in Melbourne, with our lockdown for 18 months, which was just devastating. Mm-hmm. And those girls down there, how they were feeling, their self-esteem themselves were actually, they've lost that, and they lost the encouragement to go on. We had a lot of people leave the industry because of that, because they couldn't see the point in staying in industry that wouldn't enable them to work, so they went to other industries where they could get jobs. And I think creating, I was part of the Australian Beauty Industry Council. I was one of the people that actually got that going, and we got it going for a reason, and we got it going so that we could actually support our own industry and try and encourage the therapists to stay and keep learning and keep motivated. And we got it going so that government could actually understand what we did, because quite clearly we had no purpose. We had no purpose.
No value.
People didn't understand, the governments didn't understand what we were about. So we were really, really dedicated in trying to change that. And we did make a lot of headway with that, which has been really good. But yeah, I think we need to understand how important we are to people, that like we talked about changing people's lives. Like we need to understand exactly what we do in this industry for people. And that didn't happen until COVID came along, that people didn't realize exactly what our worth was. You know, we had governments that would keep hairdressing salons open because they haircuts, you know. But what about their pigmentation? What about all that stuff that we were treating, and all of a sudden it had to stop because we couldn't get to them? You know, it was very sad. So this educating them to do it at home was, and then that's kind of changed things now too, where people can think they can do it. And we've got to bring the people back to the clinics in lots of ways. And I guess that's just the therapist struggling to rebuild their businesses, and a lot of them still are doing that, struggling to rebuild. But I think sometimes we've just got to stop and think, okay, what were we doing before that was so good? And what were we doing that was so helpful to people? Bring that back again. I don't know if that kind of makes sense what I just said then, but it kind of came like all jumble bumble and all over the place.
No, I'll tell you, you're not making it. I'm kidding. No, I loved what you said, and I think that the word that just stands out for me is value. You know, what is our value? Like each time I go up to say a speech, if I win an award or something, I'm always saying to the beauty professional, you know, if you don't get your value, it doesn't even matter if the government does or doesn't. What you cannot effectively change immediately can't shift what you know on the inside. If you, like for me, it's kind of like if you know your value, I know my value. So yes. I don't ever sell anything. Like if someone doesn't know my value, well, maybe I haven't messaged properly or something, but if they don't know my value, well, then, you know, they're not going to trust me, you know. So if I don't know my value, I know my value. And that doesn't mean that I'm, you know, egotistical or anything. It's the opposite. I know my value, so I don't have to be egotistical. I actually know my value, so I can relax. And I can say that I am of value to every person I speak to, every person that I get to treat, to help, to train, to just have a strategy for because they need help. I know I can be of value. You have to know that. If we lose that, then our compass starts to shift and we start going into inauthentic things. We start going into survival mode instead of coming from a place of authenticity. And it has happened. You know, we have got people that are training people that shouldn't be. We have people that are coaching people that shouldn't be. You can't just do a little course and become a coach or do a coaching class and go and coach other people. And I would say, and I don't know what you think about this, Gay, but I would say before you trust someone with your business, first of all, please don't put up a post for someone to tell you how to run your business. Like that's not helpful, right? Because everyone's different. Do your research on the people that you're dealing with. You know, how long have they been coaching? How, you know, what challenges have they gone through? You just shared with me, Gay. You crashed and burned. I've crashed and burned. How do you learn unless you've been through the mud? You know, you go through the mud and then you come out the other end and you're up again, right? So I think that we saw a lot of that in COVID too. People just going out and just becoming trainers because all of a sudden they could do a nice brow, they could do a nice set of lashes, or they had one before and after with the skin. All of a sudden they're out there training, and we're so unregulated, are we not?
Oh, 100% unregulated. And yeah, I totally agree with you on the number of coaches, the number of educators that have emerged in this industry since COVID. And it's really sad because people are learning. What are they learning? What are they actually learning? I think integrity is so important here, and that's the value, the integrity. I think we've got to live by that. And what are the core values of the person that are actually teaching you? I think that's so important to actually understand what their core values are. What are they going to teach you? Instead of just jumping on and doing a course because someone's put it up and they said it's really good. Let's do this course. But first of all, why are they doing it? What do they want to get out of it? And I think I always say to people when they're doing it, they're asking about a certain course, maybe even something that I put out, I always say, what do you want to learn? Tell me what you want to learn. Tell me what you want to get out of it. Where do you want to go at the end of this course? And I'll tell you whether it's good for you or not.
Beautiful. I say exactly the same thing. And do you know what the people, not everyone can deal with that. Like I have people obviously that email through for Truebrow and they're emailing and they say, I want more information. Well, how? That's fair. But I ask them, what is it exactly that you're wanting? What do you want? So I can select the program that I believe is best for you. Do you know how often people find that really difficult to answer?
Absolutely. They do, because they actually haven't thought about it. They think they need something, but they actually haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
I loved what we were talking about. We've had a conversation. We're talking about having a safe space for people to go. And I think that's really important. It would be lovely to have a space where that, like you said, Elle, that we could have people from all walks of the world, of the planet, that could come in and we could all learn from each other, and it's safe. And what's in there is honesty. What's in there is integrity, and what's in there is truth. I think that's
amazing. I'm just going to take that piece and give it to the man I know that needs to hear it and just say, well, can you just create that space for us? That is what we need. We need to have the right people. And I'm not against anyone giving something a go, but when you're actually impacting or trying to, you will have an impact either way, good or bad, on another human being's life.
Absolutely.
You think about that. Like words are meaningful. They will, and you've got a lot of young girls out there. For example, the discounting that happens in our beauty industry. I read someone write on a post the other day when I did go into one of the groups. And she said, oh, well, I just want people on the table. So, and she put her lashes down to something like some ridiculous amount. I mean, she's not making money. She's getting money, but she's not earning money. And it's like this mentality that comes from such fear that everything is kind of lost,
Absolutely. But you'll find that people that do that, and I feel my heart goes out to them, but because it's actually desperation. Yes. So they're getting people in, and what do the people think of that? When they're paying, such little money to have a service, how do they value that? And and is that going to create a loyalty, or is that person then just going to create, a client that can just go from one clinic to the next clinic on price? I think
they're doing this service, actually. Sorry for interrupting you, but I just don't want to miss this little link here. They're doing a disservice not only to themselves, but to the entire industry, because we're confusing the customer, the clients. The client needs to be led. The client wants to trust, and that's why they go and trust celebrities. That's why they go and trust influencers that have got endorsements and get paid to say something is great when it's not. So the industry is actually doing it to itself. It's not happening to you. You're doing it. When you do things like this, when you believe things like this, when you listen to people that tell you discounts so that you can get clients, you should stop listening to those people. It's kind of like, just, oh, okay, thank you. Just stop, just block your ears. Don't listen anymore. be of extraordinary value. Be so good that they can't ignore you. Don't be so cheap that they're going to come to you, because the people that are going to come to you, you're actually affecting the entire industry as a whole, because you're saying we're not of value and we'll do anything just to get you to come in. It really just doesn't make any sense. And we can't change the world. I wish I could sometimes, let me tell you. But if we can have a tiny little bit of impact on the mind of someone that has been brainwashed to think that discounting or like value adding is beautiful, let's do that. But then also let's do that mindfully. Let's check in that we're not losing money over time. Like, it's so easy to pretend you know how to guide someone to run their business. Everyone's different. Everyone has got a different life. Everyone's got a different set of circumstances they're dealing with. It's so much more complex, isn't it, Gay, than just, I'm just going to, get a series of things. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
100%. And I love the word you keep using all the time, is value, because if we don't value ourselves, how do we expect everyone else to value us? And I think that's so important. Like, and truly, if you go to a business that's doing things that are heavily discounted, you have to ask yourself as a client, what are they actually using on my skin? How can they do it so cheap and so cheap? I'll just use that word. How can they do it so cheap if they're going to change my skin or do something? What are they actually using on my skin? Where are they buying it from? And I think that reputation is really important. We're not building a reputation on doing things cheap. We actually are bringing in a clientele that actually is looking for discounts, and they'll continue to do that. And how do you climb out of that? You said it so beautifully before. You're in the mud. How do you dig yourself out of the mud when you're deep into it?
Yes,
you just keep sliding that down. You can't
and
get out.
It's a little bit like, I hate to use this word, but it's a little bit like a cancer cell when people do that, where it's only self-serving. You're not thinking of the whole. A cancer cell doesn't think of the whole. Actually, is in a destructive mode. It keeps multiplying, and it's devastating to a human body. So when you see yourself, what am I? Am I a cancer cell, or am I an organism, a cell that is actually building a powerful organism? What am I in my life as a woman, as a man that is in an industry that is so important and yet so undervalued? And you're the only one that can change that, each single one of us. So this conversation is like a conversation that we're sharing with you to tell you how amazing you actually are and how important. Isn't that right, Gail? And
100%. Sorry, Elle, you go.
And it's just simply that. Are you going to be a cancer cell? Sounds terrible, but you know what? Sometimes we need to be shocked out of our own kind of fogginess. We need to wake up to, hang on a minute, what is Elle saying? No, of course I don't want to be that. I know that they don't want to be that, but we fall into that, don't we? Sometimes it can happen. So if you don't want to be a cancer cell that is so self-centered, and you forget the bigger picture, that this is an entire industry that you can be supporting to build. And for me, like we spoke about this before, Gay, with the microblading craze, it's an epidemic. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And
yes.
what are we doing to the faces of women? Like, we need to stand up as an industry, and we need to say, well, hang on just 1 second, maybe we need to just take a pause and think about this. But, we have so much misleading information, and that safe space just starts, it's getting bigger and bigger, and now I'm just thinking, we're going to do this. We will do this for you, and that's not easy for us. We could just forget about it and go, well, we've got other things to do, but it matters. Doesn't it?
It does matter. Yeah, it does matter. And I think that's one of the things that has kept me really passionate about this industry, is that I just want to see it be an industry that is known for helping people, for giving, for just reaching out and just helping as many people as we can. So for me, I just want to help as many therapists get to where they should be.
I love
and
it.
get to where they need to be. many as I possibly can. And I want to make sure that we actually do that with, good quality education, wherever you get that from. There are some great educators out there. So wherever you get that from, and people that will give you good advice,
How
not
do
people that just
you,
give you advice.
yes, I want to ask you a question now, though. When we say that, the way that we select these good people, right? Nowadays, it can be through Facebook group. Oh, have you had this person train you? Was she good? Oh, amazing. And it's like, and that can be enough. Yeah. But I just don't agree with that. I don't know what you think, Gay. I think that the beauty professional has to do deep work. She needs to know the right questions to ask. She needs to find out the history. You need to do the work. You can't just, because someone's personal experience, say, with a particular company may not be yours. You might have the best experience. It's fine to ask people, but do your own research. Don't be complacent about the people that you choose to have an influence on your life and on your business. Be like vigilant. Would you agree with that?
100% agree with that. Social media is something that kind of if you're not kind of in there with your business, you kind of can get lost. But to me, it's an evil, because people use it as an education medium in lots and lots of ways. They put up things, how do I treat this client? How do I do this? And someone comes along and gives them an answer. So then there's a whole thread on how to actually treat that skin condition. How do we know anything about that person? How can you treat a person if you don't know anything about them? And you said that before. We have to learn. We have to find out about our clients. So when you've got someone that's actually teaching you this, you've got to find out about them. How are they going to teach you? How are they going to teach you? What knowledge are they going to impart onto you? And where did they get that from? Have they just got it from another social media platform? It's
It's
really
scary. It's scary. I'm sorry. It's scary, isn't it? It's a little scary. Yeah, it's a little scary. We are in chaos. Let's be honest. We have to say it out loud, and social media, I agree with you. Yeah, I would say to anyone, if you see an eyebrow that is photographed on the side, yeah, sideways, and you don't see that eyebrow face forward in front to see the way it's changed the appearance of a woman, you haven't seen anything. You don't know if that's a beautiful shape. You don't know if that's a beautiful brow. And what do women do? This is one of the things that really hit me hard with True Brow, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, women are putting therapists all around the world. We're not talking about Australia. So girls, don't take this on a personal level. Don't feel like we're having a go at you. We're actually saying, come on, we can do so much better. We can we're amazing, really, is what we're saying, is be the amazing you that you are. And you may need to make some shifts and some changes. It's fine. We did. How many times did we do that in our lives, Gay? Really, in our so many times. Yeah, we're not standing up here saying, oh, we know everything. We're saying we've been through everything.
and still going through
and
it.
Still, exactly. So, you're on this, I'm in these beauty groups and globally, and I'm seeing these women, these girls, these beauty girls. My heart just goes out to every beauty therapist, really, truly. And I'm seeing her put a brow that's on the side, angled, asking for advice on is this brow good? How can I make it better? You can't even see if that brow is level. You can't even see, how can anyone give you advice on that? There's such confusion. There was another post that, really did it for me. Let me tell you that where someone said that in America, someone said, oh, but microblading will come off in 7 days. It's okay, we'll peel off.
Oh no.
Now, when that kind of chaos hits an industry, the women that are, you know, their compass is true, even if it's gone off a little bit, and they think after this interview, I'm hoping they might go, hang on, let me just check in with me, because that's what you have to do, isn't it?
Yes,
We need to pull together, all of us, like a force.
Yeah. And I think we have to, like, I know so many businesses are actually employing influencers and things like that. I think just stop and listen. You are an influencer yourself. You influence people every day. You know, you are that person. So, you know, stop and have a look at yourself. Put yourself on a pedestal. You know, shout out to the world how amazing that I am, because, you know, I can do this. I can do it happen.
It's so beautiful. So I think that some of the key takeaways from this interview are, you know, just because someone's out there educating or training, it doesn't mean you don't have to do your due diligence. Don't just take the word of other people. Some people are never happy. Sometimes you might lose out on training with someone so amazing because someone said they didn't like them or had a bad experience, or you have to do the work. You do the deep diving. You're the one that is looking into that. Contact the person, speak to them, trust your inner instincts when it comes to, and your inner voice when it comes to, what's this person about? Have questions that you're going to ask them. Reach out to Gay, reach out to me. Say, what questions would I ask someone before I do a course? You know, now it's about all the high-flying social media things. Oh, what amazing things is someone doing? All of a sudden that makes them great. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't make them authentic. Exactly. It doesn't make them real. If they're sharing all of this stuff with you on social media on how to do a brow, you don't learn how to do a brow or lashes or skin or these important treatments on social media. That's not where that needs to exist. You learn in a particular way. That's another thing. Everyone learns differently, Gay. As an educator, don't you?
Yes.
One of your key things for me, I immediately, when I get a student, my first thing, and my educators, is how does this person actually learn best? You know, you don't just throw them all into a barrel and go, yeah, okay, we'll just throw you in here and you'll all learn the same. It's just not the way that it actually works. So I think that what other takeaways did we have? One, that you're absolutely gorgeous and I can't wait to interview you again. And we're going to do great things for this industry. We're only getting started. And you might think as well, you know, you two, 4 decades and a bit. We're like, well, we're just getting started. We're just like little young birds. Hey, we're just getting started. Isn't it amazing when you think of that? Like, that being in the industry so long. And do you know what I think actually a youthfulness, an inner youthfulness, an inner radiance, where that comes from is from your authenticity, your integrity. If you lose that, you'll dim your light. I guarantee you that. It's just how, it's a principle here in this universe. You can't go against it. It doesn't matter how much makeup you put on. It doesn't matter how many skin treatments you do. If this woman next to me here that I'm speaking to is radiant. She's radiant with authenticity, integrity. Her compass is 100% on point. And if you take that out of this interview and you think to yourself, what do I need to do to readjust, realign, then it's been worth our time, truly. I have loved speaking to you, Gay. I cannot believe that we waited this long. And let's do it again and again and again and bring more and more beauty into the world and let our girls know how important they are.
Thank you, Elle. Like, seriously, I have so much admiration for you. Always have, and love what you do, and, you know, value you and appreciate you so very, very much. So thank you for what you give from my heart. Thank you.
Guys, so much, and it's straight back at you, let me say. But thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for taking your precious time to listen to this interview, this dialogue, and we wanted to come to you as natural and as real as we can. Nothing of this was planned. This is just us. And I hope that what you're left with is how much we care about you and how much we deeply want to help you to find that inner compass and to build this beautiful industry with you together. Bye for now.